Mitt Romney proposes a universal basic income for kids. 2020 completely scrambled politics, and now 2021 is here, and looks like it might be even weirder because a conservative Republican who ran for the Republican ticket in 2012 is saying that he wants to give every single parent cash unconditionally for their children. So there's a lot to unpack here, and there's a lot of really good things and some things that we need to take into account when we look at Mitt Romney's plan. But the first thing I would say is that Democrats need to take this offer. This is potentially a once in a blue moon opportunity where a Republican is coming forward with such an ambitious plan, and Democrats should build off of it. But with that in mind, let's look at some of the details. So Mitt Romney's proposal looks at two different groups of children. From age 0 to 5, each child through their parent would receive $350 per month. They don't have to wait until the end of the year as they currently do with the child tax credit. So the current tax credit is worth about $2,000 per child. This this cash transfer from Mitt Romney would be worth about $4,200 per year, so more than double. For parents with kids ages 6 to 17, the amount would be about $250 per month or $3,000 per year. Again, still more than the current system. Parents with multiple kids would also get a maximum of $1,250 per month or $15,000 per year, a substantial amount of money for these parents. It's important to consider that there's a big difference between the child tax credit, which Romney's plan would replace, and the new cash transfer that Romney would be establishing, because under Romney's plan, it would go through the Social Security Administration, and it would be given no matter whether you have any kind of income. So that means parents with income of 0 would get the full amount, whereas with the current child tax credit, you have to earn a few $1,000s before the benefit starts to kick in. So for those poorest households, this is an enormous benefit and would have enormous implications for eliminating child poverty for those households. So the interesting thing is that since this is universal, there is still a mechanism that Romney uses to claw back the amount of money from those taxpayers who are making between $200,000 and $400,000, depending if you're a single or joint filer. So the phase out itself will be done through the tax code. So you'll still get the checks in the mail from the Social Security Administration, but at the end of the year, you will pay it back depending on how much taxes that you've made. This is a proposal that I've been talking about for several years now in terms of clawing back a basic income. This is the right way to do it, is that you should set it up as a universal benefit, and you can use the tax code to claw it back from the wealthiest individuals, because this puts the burden on the wealthiest individuals where there are fewer of them, and so the bureaucracy will be lower and the burden is shifted from the poor to proving that they are poor to the rich when they are filing their taxes. That is where the phase out would occur. So I think this is a great innovation in terms of putting the claw back on the back end rather than on the front end, having to prove that you're eligible in order to get the benefit. I think that's the wrong approach. Send it out to everybody, and then you can claw it back at the end of the year if they have income that is over the threshold. So what would the effects on poverty be from this plan? Well, you might think that because it's coming from a conservative Republican that it's not going to be that effective. Well, you would not be correct, because according to the think tank analysis, they find that poverty would fall by 14% which means 5.1 million people would be lifted out of poverty, and the poverty rate for children would fall by 1/3. This would be most effective for those who are in extreme poverty. So those families that currently aren't even eligible for the child tax credit, they're going to be the ones that benefit the most by Romney's plan. For children who are born right after the passage of this hypothetical plan, they would receive over $62,000 from the United States by the time that they turned 18. This is an enormous amount that would be life-changing for those families, because for a lot of folks, that cash is the difference between going to college and not going to college, pursuing your passions and not pursuing your passions, getting a job right out of high school or even in high school, and focusing on your studies or focusing on what you believe is going to be the most productive for you and your family. So this, to me, is a potentially game changer from Romney's plan. Now, a Columbia University study found that a one-off benefit would reduce child poverty by as much as 54%, and that would be about 5 million children overall and 1 million Black children. So this, again, is an incredible change in the way that poverty would be understood in the United States, creating a floor for children. So a couple things to take note is that Mitt Romney's plan does eliminate the child tax credit, and he adjusts the earned income tax credit to take away the child portion of that tax credit. And he also eliminates the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families block program, which allocates about $16.5 billion every single year. The problem with the TANF program is that it has basically been eviscerated over the years, and the states who are administering the program, they put that cash wherever they would like to have different programs, rather than actually sending out the cash as assistance to needy families. So we went from cash assistance through as the bulk of the program to basically just having a lot of different ineffective programs that are being run by the states. Now, there are some effective programs through TANF. It depends on the state. However, under Romney's plan, by taking that cash and just giving it to families, that guarantees that every single person is receiving that funding. Another thing to take note is that there are some individuals who might be slightly worse off depending on how the tax code favors them with the EITC and the child tax credit. So a few families might receive about $450 less every year as a result of Romney's plan. Now, it's important to note that these programs have about 78% take-up, which means that there's a lot of families who are potentially eligible, but they're not actually receiving that assistance. So, as a result, a lot of folks who could get help don't actually receive it. And the other thing is that the current system is incredibly complicated, especially for TANF. People don't know that these programs exist. They have to navigate an enormous bureaucracy, whereas with the Social Security Administration, that money would just be sent out directly without navigating all of those issues. So it would be an enormous boon for those families. So yes, there are a few people who might see a decline in cash if they are maximizing all of the potential benefits. However, they do get the benefit of the guaranteed cash every single month rather than waiting till the end of the year, and they don't have to navigate this bureaucracy. So what I'd say is that the best solution to this problem is upping some of the other programs, such as the earned income tax credit to offset that problem of the $450. I think that's a compromise that the Democrats and Mitt Romney could work out. Is yes, let's fix the problem of some families being worse off. Let's boost other programs. In particular, the EITC would be a great way to solve this problem. So at the end of the day, we have to realize that the current political situation could be a once-in-a-generation opportunity for us to move the needle in terms of cash assistance and cash transfers. This is such an important moment because you now have Republicans that are even talking about this. This could be a bipartisan effort to expand cash for families who have children. And from there, I think it's a lot easier to build the momentum for creating a truly universal basic income, because this is exactly what UBI advocates are talking about. This is the foundation of a UBI, and all of the elements of UBI are there. So it can be improved, and it should be improved, but let's get it passed, and then we can build from there. That is the most important thing. So in the upcoming stimulus package, there's a debate between the one-off Biden assistance for children, which Democrats said that they would like to make permanent, and you have Romney who's putting forward this deficit neutral plan. And because it's deficit neutral, it can be done as part of the reconciliation, which means it could be made permanent since it does not add to the deficit. So from my perspective, I think that the Democrats should take that offer, get it into the law, make it permanent, and then build off of it. If you can get the votes to make it even stronger, that's the direction that we should take. Don't waste this opportunity where we have this in front of us and we could actually build a true universal guaranteed income for families and then build from there. So that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think about Romney's plan, how it compares to Biden's plan. If you think that it actually might make people worse off, I'm very interested in hearing alternative opinions. So let me know in the comments below.